Hello everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. This is Lise Perez, your Master Embodiment Coach, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day, an amazing weekend. You know, pop into the comments if how your weekend is going. That would be so awesome. So guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about living by faith, and that is my topic today. Right, and so I wanted to talk to you guys about that and share some stuff on my heart and what's been going on, and you know, and all the fun stuff. And so if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the little ding, the little bell. I always say that. Don't forget to hit the little bell so that I can so that you can receive notifications of my next videos, of when I go live next, or even when I upload a video. And so yeah, and if you're inspired by this video, if it impacts you in any way, shape, or form, again, please like, share, and subscribe. That would mean the world. So guys, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I know a lot of people can relate to this, is living by faith, right? What this all means, because especially in our pandemic, especially during COVID right now, right? A lot of people are losing their jobs, and and people don't know what to do with themselves. They're scared, you know, they're scared to take the leaps, right? And they're scared to take the leaps. They're scared to, you know, take giant steps forward, or they're not sure if they should take you know, steps backwards, or whatever the case may be. So many people are faced with decisions that they need to make in various areas, and they're not even sure what decisions to make, right? It becomes like a kind of a roller coaster turn of events. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit of our experience and a little bit of our story and our journey to, you know, what it means what it means to live by faith in our family. Because of course, like, you know, as some of you may know, you know, I'm Canadian. We live in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and we took it as a 3-week decision. I always say a bold, courageous decision to move here from Canada. We craved a new beginning, new opportunity, and you know, we just weren't sure how things were going to happen. But we've learned many times to not question the how, but to simply trust the process, because everything always works out. And so you know, we came here with 2 suitcases, each our 2 dogs and our cat, and that's as far as it goes. We had actually intended to come here to live, you know, to you know, work the spring break, right? To work the high season, to get a job at a hotel, and that was every intention. But of course, if you guys know anything about faith, God generally usually has a good plan, different plan for our lives. Right? It's not necessarily what we have. It's not necessarily the plan that we have or the plan that we expect, right? But it's usually a different plan than we least expect it. So needless to say, you know, we came here, and then few weeks later, 3-4 weeks later, we got hit by COVID, and so we've been locked down ever since March. And you know, my girls lost their job because of it. They were working in a hotel. We had a part-time job, and we essentially got laid off, right? It was just big commission based, and we essentially got laid off. But we've learned what exactly unwavering faith means since we've been in lockdown, since we've been in Cabo. And it's not even just, you know, it's not even just since we've been here. We've learned unwavering faith for a long time, for several years. But it's showed itself in its face many times over since we've been here, for the last 6 months, right? Because there's so many decisions that we had to take, and some of them are not so great, some of them are awesome, right? Because you know, what happens is when you move to a different town, or when you make such a giant leap of faith like that, a decision based on courage and courage alone, right? Courage and faith alone. You come across decisions that you have to make, whether, and some of them are not so, some of them not so great, some of them are scary, and some of them are based strictly on courage and the reliance of faith, right? That's just what happens when you take big, grand decisions, right? And so living by faith has proved its space so many times since we've been here, so many times, right? Because not being able to find a job, being in lockdown for the last 5 months, has allowed us to really rely on God and God alone. Because what is a family to do, or what is it that you can do really if you know, you're on lockdown, you're in the pandemic, you know, you're in a tourist town, you're in like literally paradise, you're in a town where people call it their dream. Sorry guys, sorry about that. It's very windy, so bear with me. 1 second. Ooh, that was super windy. Sorry about that. Forgot to put the cord. Totally forgot to put the cord. Didn't realize how windy it is. So, anyways, what I was saying was, what is a family to do, right? When, or even just to do when, you know, you're stuck in lockdown. You can't really do a single thing. Thanks. And you know, you're in a tourist town, a town that people call the beach town, right? Or not the beach town. People call a dream life, and we're not really able to enjoy any of it but the sun and the palm trees that we can see, right? We can't even see the beach. But so what is it to do when you really cannot do anything, right? As I said, you can't get a job because the town is completely on lockdown. No one's really, we're not receiving any tourists, right? It's living completely and utterly by faith. So there's a couple of things you can do here. You can either, and you have a couple of choices, and we were faced with these choices, at least I was. You could either wallow in your own sorrows, right? That's choice number one. Generally the easiest choice ever is the choice number one, is wallowing in your own sorrows, wondering what the heck to do, wondering if things are ever going to let up, and not really get out of bed, and you know, stay in front of Netflix watching TV all day, not really doing a single thing, right? And because you're just wondering, you're hoping, not even praying, you're hoping and you're anticipating when things are going to open up again so that you can finally live your life again. That's the one option. As I said, that's the easiest, essentially an easy way out, but that's the easiest and most simplest option, which most humans will do. Or there's the second option. The second option is not so easy, right? Because it's completely living by faith. It's you know, you're taking decisions, you're taking action, you're making decisions, and you're using your courage and your resilience and your perseverance and your determination when this happens, when you take this decision. And that decision is relying on your mindset and literally taking the massive action and living by faith. Living by faith that everything will work out. Living by faith that you got let go of your job, but yet you're still living and you're breathing and you're healthy and you're blessed. Living by faith because, you know, your family is healthy, right? Living by faith because you have an opportunity to eat every single day, right? I know most people in the impoverished community don't get that luxury, and that's why those type of simplistic things, especially you know, if you're watching from the Canada, US, first world country, I mean, it tends to be very taken for granted a lot, and so just those simplistic things that it's like, you know what, I was able to eat today, I was able to eat tomorrow, I was able to get groceries. It becomes a remarkable thing, and it doesn't become a life of survival, but it becomes a life yearning, a life that we can yearn for. That we can, you know, one day look back at this and be like, you know what, I live by faith and faith alone, and this is where it got us. This is what happened. This is what God has brought us to. Because the word says he will never leave you nor forsake you. And most people will kind of take that for granted a little bit and only call on God and only call on the universe only when it's most convenient. But what happens when you're living by faith alone and you're literally trusting the process is that no matter what happens, you have faith in God all the time. You trust God all the time. Not when it's convenient. When you're kicked down to the curb and you're pushed down and you're kicked down and you feel like you're disintegrating into dust, but yet and you're literally you feel like you're in a choking hold, right? You're in a survival mode. But yet your faith becomes unwavered because you're in complete direct partnership with God for your life. Because as I said, his word says he'll never leave you nor forsake you. And one of our mantras is, and I speak it all the time, you'll hear me speak it in my videos all the time, is 2 Corinthians 5:7, where it's living by faith and not by sight. And that proves time and time and time again in our lives. For years and years and years and years and years. It proved time like triple fold when within the last 5 minutes, guaranteed. Within the last 6 months, guaranteed, right? And there's a post, a quote that I shared by Tony Robbins, which is very very fitting for this topic, right? Because there's a couple of things. He goes, don't focus on the lack of resources, but focus on being resourceful, right? And and also we're creator of our own life, not the manager of our circumstances. So when we can believe that and truly wholeheartedly believe it, our faith will never waver. Our faith will never waver, and it'll continue to be steadfast and unconditional no matter what happens, no matter whether financial abundance comes into our lives, right? No matter abundance in health, in relationships, in our wellness, in our well-being. No matter what, the faith will never be unwavered, especially when we believe that we are the creator of our own circumstances. We're the creator of our own life and not the manager of our circumstance, right? When we can believe that and we can actually live by faith and not by sight, then things become not easy, but it becomes life lessons, and it becomes opportunities to grow and evolve and figure out, this is what happened, but getting into a peak state all the time, staying in a peak state. Tony Robbins is awesome for this because he always says, stay in a peak state all the time. You are blessed. You are, you're healthy. You're living. You're breathing. You're breathing another day in order to work on your purpose, in order to serve others. There's no price on impact and service. There's never a price on impact and service. And so when you can believe that and you can trust that, your faith will never waver. So if you're sitting there right now, or you're watching this video and you're going through a hard time, maybe not through pandemic, but maybe you're going through a loss, or maybe you're going through a job loss, or maybe you don't have a great relationship with your spouse or significant other, or you don't have a great relationship with other family members, or your health is not great, or whatever the case may be. Just remember, no matter what, God will never leave you nor forsake you. And it's happened time and time again in our lives. I know it's happened so many times, so often with our family and with our friends, right? I shared a very vulnerable post on my Facebook to my timeline for people today that, just shared my vulnerability, rawness, realism, the brutal, honest truth. And, I shared what's going on with us, right? Because what happens with our mental health. And what happens when no one can really see our minds and no one can really see our brain is that unless you actually tell people truly, honestly, what's happening with you, they won't think otherwise. Right? They'll think you're good, they'll think you're fine, they'll think you're okay, and they'll believe it unless you actually tell them what's happening. And so I did that. I told them what's happening, right? And what's happening with us, and ask for their help and support. And just something as simple as paying our rent because of this situation that we're currently in, right? And within hours we got our rent paid. Within hours, the brink of the moments, and my pastor at the church says, and he says, and if you guys want to check it out, please go to Facebook and search up Union Station. That is a church that we go to. They do online service, and they do live streaming for people that are still in lockdown, or they choose to be in lockdown, or they just or just if they're not local, right? So anyways, my pastor says, he said it in the other service, and he's in the last service, and he says, God will light a firecracker under your bum until the very last minute, and then most often he'll put it out. Most often he'll let it go. And it's happened so often. The time, because a lot of these things, a lot of the trials and tribulations that we go through are tests. They're tests of our perseverance, they're tests of our resilience, they're tests of, our dedication or determination, they're tests of faith. Because what happens with faith is that when people are in such great situations, humility a lot of the times tends to kind of dissipate a little bit. And ego kind of gets in the way, pride gets in the way, and gratitude might not coexist in their life, right? Like true utmost gratitude to God might not coexist, and so generally things like this, when they happen, it's a test of faith, because no matter what, whether things happen in a good remark. Or whether we make such beautiful decisions, or whether God's like graciously blesses us with multitudes of abundance, or whether we go through situations where it's not so great, such as the pandemic, and we're not sure what's going to happen. These are the times when we need to rely on faith more. That's why my topic is living by faith, because these are the times, especially in these hard times, where we need to rely on our faith a lot more, and really appreciate and be grateful for what we have. Be grateful for our life, be grateful for our purpose, be grateful for our gifts, be grateful for our hearts, be grateful for God's compassion, for every single one of these vibes. Right? These are the moments where it's like, okay, like you guys are put in a situation. What are you going to do to get out of it? Is your faith going to dissipate? And you're going to just work on it in your own accord, by your own human flesh? Or are you going to literally rely on faith? Because I'll always take you out, right? As I said, God never leaves us nor forsakes us. So when we believe that, even when in times of scarcity, we're still going to believe that he'll pull us out. It happens time and time again. It happens for our lives. It happens for my family. It happens all the time. And it can happen for you guys, right? Especially when through the not so great times, you still have a faith. And you don't have a faith just because it's convenient for you, just because things are remarkably happening so amazingly well. And it's like, oh my gosh, thank you God, thank you God, thank you God. But yet when you get kicked to the curb and you seem like you keep getting punched, or you're in a chokehold, right? You're just in survival mode. It's like, okay, let's see how your faith really is. Because a lot of people unfortunately in this world are like that. So as I mentioned, if you guys are going through something and you're not sure what to do, turn to God. Turn to the Word and the Bible. I read the Bible every single day. Every single day. The daily verses, and I'm always so blessed and always so grateful to him for taking us out of messes and for continuously being there with us in divine partnership with us every single time, holding our hands, being our strength when we feel weak. His faith is unwavering, so our faith should be unwavering. His love is unconditional, so our love should be unconditional, right? Always. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, right? Because it's so important, especially in these days, especially in the situation we're currently facing. And let this be a message of hope, and let this be a message of light, that it's like, it's okay that you're going through this, because things are happening for you, not to you. And when you can believe that, and when you can remind yourself of that, things in life start to become a little bit easier to handle and not so tough. So you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching my video. And if this resonates with you and you receive this message today in your heart and it aligns with you to share with your network, or there's someone in your network that really needs to hear this, then I encourage you to please like, share, and subscribe to my videos and to my channel. That would be so amazing. And don't forget to click the little bell somewhere or up there and so you can receive the notifications of when I go live next. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys soon. And don't forget 2 Corinthians 5:7, live by faith and not by sight. It always happens, and your faith will never waver. So you guys are amazing. God bless you, and